welcome.
You're welcome. This is a sweet treat.
Did I read that right? Did Teresa get engaged or married or something?
Yes.
What happened? Engaged?
Yes. In Tanzania, apparently.
Yeah. Did you see Stacey's typo tonight?
Yes. TMI.
She knew loads of people.
Maybe we should try to go on the side.
Let's rock and roll.
Are we taking a photo? I haven't heard a 1, 2, 3 for a photo. I turned into a video. Are we doing the photo?
I'm waiting for Pelosi. Okay.
She was here. I saw her come in.
Yeah, Pelosi.
Yes.
No, she's 3 minutes out.
This is my speech. I'm going to leave it right there.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to leave my speech right there.
This is my speech.
Oh, good.
It's one sentence. Mine is one sentence. Okay. Mine is one sentence.
I didn't rewrite. I just said.
Oh, Pelosi, yeah. Come get in the picture. Not a speaker, get in the picture. We're taking a picture. Yeah. All right. Grace. Get Grace in the picture.
Madam Speaker, this way.
Oh, she's in the wrong place.
Okay, here we go.
Lois, get Nancy over next to you.
Yeah, I'm going to get her. Okay, let me go get her. Wait.
She's coming, Lois.
I think the signs should be in the front because you're going to cover up somebody's face. Well, okay.
Let's go up front and you stand right there.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm fine.
Started all this.
Somebody fell over.
How cute is he?
Balance it out. No. Sit in the chair. Brittany. Don't get on your knees for the photo.
Isn't this great? Perfect. You did it.
One more chair.
It's all on your shoulders, though. Okay.
One more chair for Al.
We're all cooks in the kitchen.
I didn't want her on her knees.
Here comes Elma in the hat.
Good job. 6 inches this way.
Hey, where are we looking?
See, she's tall, so she dominates. She goes over all of us.
Can I have one? Here's one.
No, they have them over there. They have plenty.
Did anybody see Haley Stevens?
Oh
my God. Who's from Michigan? Is Haley here? She's supposed to speak. I know, okay.
Where's America? Yeah, and they can't see.
Oh, Debbie.
Because we all these people right here. Been blocked.
Debbie. No. Annie, people keep coming in.
Spot right here. Come.
Oh my goodness.
They take it. This is all for the picture. Not yet the president.
Oh my God, this is like a clown car.
And nobody's counting, so we don't know where we're looking.
I just want to know, is Katherine visible?
Okay, yeah, she's very tall.
Visible, Katherine?
Yeah.
I think so.
Stand on your toes.
Stand on your toes. Yeah.
Kamala!
That's more of a smile.
Okay, all right. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it. I'm going to get the party started. Okay. Okay. Ready? Is everybody ready? We're going to start. Hillary. Haley don't get here. They ask a question about Michigan. Okay. I'm just gonna do quick. I'm starting.
And then it's Catherine.
And then it's Nancy, and then you. Okay, we got it. Hello. Okay. Well, good morning. What a great morning. Lois Frankel from Florida. All right. You can hold the applause. Okay. Well, listen, today I am here with, as you can see, many members of the Democratic Women of the United States Congress, but more importantly, we are grandmothers and mothers and wives and daughters and sisters.
And aunts.
And okay.
And bonus mom.
And we are here to endorse for president a champion for our freedom, for our safety, for our economic security. And, of course, you know who that is, Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris? That was an inside joke. And with that, I turn this over to our whip, Katherine Clark.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure to be here. Thank you to EDW and Lois Frankel for gathering us together. Let me start by expressing my immense gratitude for the selfless patriotism of President Joe Biden. He is one of the most impactful presidents in modern history, with a record of achievement that will reverberate for generations to come. Now, as Vice President Harris seeks to build on that progress, as she fights to save our democracy and create an economy that works for working people, and to protect reproductive freedom across this country, the Democratic women of the House offer our proud, full-throated endorsement of her campaign for President of the United States. That's right. We see ourselves in her, and more importantly, Kamala Harris sees us. She has a vision for the future that includes everyone and reflects the needs and priorities of women from every corner of this country. She has a vision of freedom and dignity and opportunity for all of our children. Donald Trump has another vision: relegating women to second-class citizenship, rigging the economy against working families, and eroding the most basic values of our democracy. The American people face a choice in the months ahead. Will we have freedom for all or power for a few? Will we ban abortion or invest in childcare? Will we build an economy that works for everyone, or will we endow corporations with more rights than our daughters? Vice President Harris has been in this fight her entire career. Through every chapter of her public service, she has been the antithesis of Donald Trump. She leads with dignity and compassion. He capitulates to cruelty and greed. She stood up to Big Pharma. He gave them a tax break. She cut childhood poverty in half. He crashed our economy. She lowered the cost of health care for millions of families. He wants to gut Medicare and repeal the ACA. She prosecuted sex offenders. He is one. The stakes of this election are without precedent. Our democracy is on the line. Our freedom is on the line. The unfulfilled promise of our republic is on the line. And thank goodness we have a champion in Kamala Harris who has stood forward. We are united behind her because she is the experienced leader we need at this moment, at this crossroads in our history, to be our champion, to reject extremism and build a future worthy of all of our children. And speaking of champions for children, it is my pleasure to yield this podium to the iconic, the legendary Speaker Emerita, Nancy Pelosi.
Thank you very much, Whip Clark, for your very, very inclusive and comprehensive presentation about what is at stake. Two different visions of America. America was truly blessed, has been, continues to be blessed by the wisdom and the magnificent leadership of President Joe Biden. With love, okay. With love and gratitude, I salute President Biden for always believing in the possibilities of America. You know, when he said, when they say, what's one word? When people ask me, give me one word about America, he said, possibilities. And those are possibilities for every family to reach its fulfillment. In his belief in possibilities, in his goodness, in the goodness of the American people, and working to make it possible for people to reach their fulfillment. Last night, we saw President Joe Biden talk about his legacy, which frankly is our legacy too. The House Democrats passed those occasionally bipartisan, hopefully more so in the future, but nonetheless. And Whip Clark went through some of that in saying the difference between the two visions for America, for Kamala, Vice President Harris, soon to be President Harris, and what's his name? So last night we saw President Biden, one of the most consequential presidents in American history, who accomplished so much in the progress that we've discussed, to say the best way to have the progress go forward is to pass the torch to another generation. And that is what he did, with great eloquence, with great values, with great vision. And as our distinguished Whip Clark said at the end about our children, and what Kamala Harris is about, and I've known her for decades. I know her officially, her strength. Kamala is about strength and determination in terms of public policy. We know most recently in terms of a woman's right to choose, but the list is vast, as Whip Clark mentioned. I know her personally. She's a person of great faith, of deep faith, and commitment to public service in the most unselfish way. And again, politically, make no mistake, this is a politically astute Vice President of the United States. I've seen her in action. I can talk about it on another occasion at more length, but let me just say, she is capable officially, personally, and politically to lead us to victory in November. So it's a very exciting thing. So we have, again, her taking the torch so gracefully. Now, not to go back into the contrast, but because it was very eloquently, but there are some other things too. When she announced that she was running, and the president endorsed her in that, around 1.5 million people gave an average of $100 each, raised over $100 million from small donors. So enthusiastic. He's sitting at the table with Big Oil saying, you give me $100 million, I'll give you $1 billion in tax breaks. It's all over. It's all over, what's your name? It's all over. That's not how Washington should run, and under Kamala Harris, people's voices will be heard in a very different way than you're trading at the table with Big Oil, Big Pharma, big guns, big money. It's about the people. So again, as Kamala, as our distinguished whip said, it's about what we're doing here for the children, honoring their aspirations. Instead of shutting down the Department of Education and Head Start and the rest of that, as their project 2025 will do, Instead, it's about honoring the vision of a democracy, the courage of our founders, the courage of our men and women in uniform to protect our freedoms and, again, the aspirations of our children. Are we ready? Are we ready? Now, as you know, we believe that when women succeed, America succeeds. And one of the champions of that motto is Congresswoman Joyce Beatty of Ohio.
Thank you so much. I still call you Speaker Nancy Pelosi. It is indeed my honor to join EDW today to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris as our candidate for president. We have had the honor to work with her, to serve with her, to travel with her, and we have witnessed her reach down, lift up, and captivate young children. I have seen her strength. I have seen her as America has seen her stand up for law and order and justice, as well as a protector of those whose voices are not heard. I join others in thanking President Joe Biden for his work and for giving us the best way forward by passing the torch to Vice President Harris. I say to all listening and watching us today, I declare today a clarion moment because history is in our hands. We hold the power. This past Sunday, 44,000 women joined a call to support our candidate, Vice President Harris. She is smart, strong, strategic, serious, sincere, and yes, suited up to be President of the United States of America. She has been a strong governing partner with President Joe Biden. Healthcare, women's reproductive rights, climate change, safer community civil rights, voting rights. I can tell you this because we have had the lowest unemployment rate in the history of our presidents. 15 million new jobs, $16 billion to HBCUs, $35 cap on insulin for our seniors. Yes, and we may applaud on that. Loan forgiveness for some 4 million students by applying $167 billion to that effort. She will continue all of that. And as we talk about our children, being able to pull 50% of our children out of poverty, that tells you, yes, two different visions. A vision of hope, a vision of freedom, against a vision of hatred, a vision of dismantling our future. So lastly, when you asked who is Vice President Harris, she is battle tested, she mobilizes, she strategizes, and she will lead us into the future because we know she will be our next president of the United States of America. And now it gives me great pleasure to pass it off to Congresswoman Chu.
Hello, I'm Congressmember Judy Chu, and I'm proud to stand with elect Democratic women as we endorse Kamala Harris as our next President of the United States. And let me talk about the issue that is front and center for women right now. 2 years ago, the MAGA justices on the Supreme Court ripped away reproductive freedoms from tens of millions of Americans with their Dobbs decision. For the first time in America's history, young women have fewer rights than their grandmothers. But Vice President Harris has been on the front lines in the fight against this. She's not only been our party's leading messenger on reproductive freedom, she will ensure that Trump's role in overturning Roe is front and center in this election. We know all too well that the stakes can't be higher this November. Our very rights are on the line. All of us are here today fighting hard to protect women's freedom to make deeply personal decisions of when to start or grow their families. We are fighting to ensure that women's health care decisions remain between them and their doctor. Democrats have been winning on this issue in every state where abortion has been in the ballot, including deeply conservative states. That is why we've seen Republicans try to hide their extreme stances, knowing how unpopular they are. But make no mistake, regardless of what he says on the campaign trail, if Trump wins, he will pass a national abortion ban on day one. But this will not happen with Vice President Harris as our nominee. Democrats will run a campaign focused on our vision to build a better future, a country where hard-working American taxpayers can breathe easier, and our fundamental freedoms, including every woman's right to make her own health care decisions, are respected. When we elect Vice President Harris as our next president, and when we take back the House and keep the Senate, she will finally sign my Women's Health Protection Act into law and restore the right for every woman in this country to receive abortion care no matter what their zip code. No longer will there be state-level bans and restrictions that impede access, and no longer will we face a future where we could have a nation of forced birth. These are the stakes this November. No one is better suited to take the fight to Donald Trump and Republicans who
Of course, you know who that is, Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris? That was an inside joke. And with that, I turn this over to our whip, Katherine Clark.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure to be here. Thank you to EDW and Lois Frankel for gathering us together. Let me start by expressing my immense gratitude for the selfless patriotism of President Joe Biden. He is one of the most impactful presidents in modern history, with a record of achievement that will reverberate for generations to come. Now, as Vice President Harris seeks to build on that progress, as she fights to save our democracy and create an economy that works for working people, and to protect reproductive freedom across this country, the Democratic women of the House offer our proud, full-throated endorsement of her campaign for President of the United States. That's right. We see ourselves in her, and more importantly, Kamala Harris sees us. She has a vision for the future that includes everyone and reflects the needs and priorities of women from every corner of this country. She has a vision of freedom and dignity and opportunity for all of our children. Donald Trump has another vision: relegating women to second-class citizenship, rigging the economy against working families, and eroding the most basic values of our democracy. The American people face a choice in the months ahead. Will we have freedom for all or power for a few.
He chose a running mate who may be even more extreme than he is on restricting women's rights to an abortion, and who have also advocated for women staying in abusive relationships. His choice of J.D. Vance made clear that he has an anti-woman agenda if he gets back in the White House. That's right. This is a man who, when he had the chance to unite the country last week at the Republican National Convention, chose to further stoke hatred toward immigrants as his extreme MAGA followers waved around mass deportation now placards. He does not care who gets swept up in his deportation operations, and has even admitted that some innocent Americans may get deported. But he's okay with that, as long as he accomplishes his goal of mass deportations. The American people deserve leaders like Vice President Harris, who put people over politics, not extreme MAGA Republicans who will make our lives harder and take away our rights. And as the Vice President says, we are not going to go backwards. We are going to move forward. We won't go back. 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 So we're going to do everything we can to win and support her. Women, we got to be on the road on the campaign trail, because this is going to take women on the road. And with that, we turn it over back to our leader, Lois Franklin.
There we go. I don't know about that. Okay. All right. So we thought for the purposes of the campaign, we'd bring up two of our members from swing states, from Pennsylvania, Madeline Dean, and from Michigan, Haley Stevens. They're just going to say a word of what they think this nominee means for election in their state. Go ahead, Madeline.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Madeline Dean from the Keystone State, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Lois, thank you, elect Democratic women, for this extraordinary showing of support for Vice President Kamala Harris. I join my voice with all of yours to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris. I'll be brief. I want to first say about the president. How beautiful was his speech last night, his remarks to the nation. It was just magnificent. A round of applause for the selflessness. How lucky have we been to serve alongside him these 3.5 years, and for the next 6 months, I can't wait for what the future brings. But I say that I come from the Keystone State. You know, by way of our history, Pennsylvania was considered the Keystone State back in the colonial era, the founding of our country, because of its geographic, political, and economic centeredness. We are going to be the Keystone State again in this election when we elect Kamala Harris and whomever her vice presidential running mate might be. It is her choice. I can't wait to hear what it might be. But Pennsylvania is so excited, so ready for the first African-American, Asian-American woman to be President of the United States. I associate myself with the beautiful, eloquent words of everyone here. And I want to end with what she just started today. If you saw her campaign launch video, her phrase is, "We choose freedom. We choose freedom. We choose freedom. We choose freedom." The contrast couldn't be greater. Proud to stand here endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris.
Thank you, Helen. Michigan is in the house.
Michigan, Haley Stevens from Michigan. And I just want to say, from the heart of automotive country, Joe Biden has passed the keys to Kamala Harris to be the first woman, the next president of the United States. Kamala Harris loves Michigan. She was there making sure. Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does, because she was in our state making sure we were getting vaccinated when we rolled out the Rescue Act. She's been there doing the infrastructure bill rollout, making sure that that is executed, and she has been shining alongside our manufacturing economy. Every time I see our next president of the United States, I tell her, please come to the mitten, because we love you and you fire us up. So I'm so proud to stand here alongside my sisters, elect Democratic women who do the work to get women into office. And now we are taking on the ultimate charge, which is to get Kamala Harris as our next president. This is a big moment. I am so proud of President Biden. I was proud to support him, and I am proud to support him now in endorsing Kamala Harris as our next president. Right from the mitten. Thank you.
All right. Any questions from the press today? Yeah, go ahead.
One of the main things that Republicans have already decided to go after Vice President Harris for was her role in curbing migration at the southern border. Can you just respond?
Yes,
How do
you're gonna
Democrats plan to counter that
hit all the good
argument from Republicans ahead of the election?
Well, first of all, this is some more misinformation and disinformation. The vice president was never in charge of the border. She was never in charge of immigration policy. On the contrary, it's Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is in charge of border policy. He's in charge under Homeland Security. And Republicans already tried to impeach him and failed. So what are they doing now? They're making it up and blaming her. What Vice President Harris was in charge of addressing root causes of migration, a diplomatic effort in other countries, in the Northern Triangle in specific. And you ask, what did she do? She helped raise $5 billion to invest in the economy in these countries with the private sector. And when she first started, migration from those countries started at 41%. 41% of people that were migrating were coming from those Northern Triangle countries. In 2023, that went down to 21%. So don't come and start the false lies, because we're going to make sure to correct them.
All right. Bring the receipts, Chair.
Oh, the other thing that I didn't mention is we are actually at a low of border crossings, lower than even when Biden left. So what has been done by this administration right now has been working, and we got to continue to get Congress to pass comprehensive immigration reform, and that is ultimately